In 2016, in Hollywood, California, Chef Curtis Stone and his brother, Luke Stone, opened an old-world European-style butcher shop / elegant steakhouse inspired by their maternal grandmother, Gwen, who lived on a farm in Melbourne. It was there that they were first exposed to livestock farming, which instilled in them a great respect for the process of raising animals for food. Their fire-based cooking techniques, in-house aged meats, cross-restaurant collaboration, and beautiful Art Deco interior earned Gwen its first Michelin star in 2023, and today, I'm eating everything from Gwen. Let's eat the menu, Gwen. Big news. I am going to eat all the most delicious things in your cities. We're going on the road. We're going to do an Eat the Menu live show in 6 different cities. Dak's coming along. We got special guests. We're going to do some games, sing some songs, etc. And some of you guys even get the chance to come up on stage and eat with me.
We may even throw some chicken at you.
Don't throw it back. If we're coming to your city, let us know in the comments what we should be eating there. And if you'd like us to come to your city, where do you live? Let us know.
And we look forward to seeing you in person.
And as always, Eat the Menu is brought to you by Keats Not Too Hot Sauces. They aren't ranked by any French tire companies, but they are delicious, I promise.
Gwen's a European-style butcher shop where we cure all of our own meat. We make all of the charcuterie in-house from red breed pigs, and then we dry age all of our beef in a big meat locker. People come in all day long for our meats, and it's also the heartbeat of the restaurant that sort of sits in the same building. You enter through the butcher shop into the restaurant. So of course we're a meat-centric restaurant. We cook everything over live fire, and it has this sort of primitive elegance. I like to describe it as it's still a refined restaurant, but very, very simple in the way we approach food.
Before we have appetizers, we probably have to have some wine, and we actually have a sommelier who has been on Try Guys before. It's Andrew. He was in the cheesemonger video. Andrew, please, what should I be drinking?
Hi, nice to see you again.
Good to see you.
I've got 2 Chardonnays for you. This is the Rare Wine Company's Clos de Menil. This is 100% Chardonnay Blanc de Blanc Champagne. And then just up the street, Beaujolais and Burgundy. And above that, Chablis. So 100% Chardonnay as well. Both of these grown on limestone, but obviously one's sparkling, one's still. Enjoy.
Wow, thank you. There were so many funny words. I guess we should start with the sparkling. Let's have a taste. Wow, that's good. That's way better than the champagne I can afford. Let's have this one. Well, I can at least tell they're both a similar kind of wine. I think I like the sparkling one more only because it tastes more unique to me. I haven't had a champagne that is that good, honestly. Let's get in. We have a lot of appetizers to get through, but let's start right here. Bluefin tuna. With the little flowers, with the little nuts, the little pickled jalapeno. I like that it's got little flowers on it because I imagine bluefin tuna don't even know what flowers are. The bluefin tuna. Yeah, that was good. Salty, obviously so delicate, very deliciously tuna-y. The dill is singing, little flowers are getting to know the fish. It's briny, it's bright, the flavor dances, it swims even. It's honestly so flavorful, I don't know how to describe it. It makes you want to smile. It's not like a smile like you're proud of your son, it's like a smile like you see somebody cute. The steak tartare. It's really beautiful. Look, it's like a little forest. The steak tartare. That was like the best roast beef sandwich flavor. It was like when you get that really good medium rare roast beef sandwich, you bite into it, a little bit of a mustard tang, but wow. When you're in the grocery store and you wish you could just eat the ground beef right there, you can't. This is if you did and you were rewarded for that behavior. What kind of smile is it? A mischievous one? Okay, so this is a seaweed waffle. We've got smoked trout roe with a little bit of creme fraiche and some chives. Wow, the roe's so beautiful. Let's have it. Remarkable. Caviar, roe, It's just delicious fish salt. And with the creme fraiche, which gives a little bit of heavy fat, and then this like sort of bitter seaweed waffle, it is just everything all in one bite. It's got a great chew and just, it's amazing. I haven't tasted anything like this before. So everything here is just sort of rotating depending on what is the freshest. This is a market vegetable salad. It kind of changes all the time. So if you come eat here, you're like, hey, I want that salad Keith had, you might not have it. So I'm gonna have the best salad they made for me right now. We got some apples, we got some almonds, some various butter lettuces and other lettuces. I can't even talk, I'm so excited. The salad. Wow, bright, tangy, fresh, crunchy, nutty, a little like me. This is a smile like this. It's just tart, and then it's got a little bit of fennel. You just keep digging in the salad, you discover more treasures. This must be what it's like to be a little pirate. How did pirates find so much treasure? And then they bury it. What are they, squirrels? Oysters. Okay, they have a little Fresno chili oil hot sauce situation that comes in a little tincture. Oysters are one of those things that the less you think about it, the better. They just kind of grow sticking on some rocks or wood or whatever they can stick on, and they just live their life like that. They don't go anywhere. No sightseeing. Let's try one. That hot sauce is good. Not too hot. Really a briny little guy. A lot of great little chili pepper flavor. I'm gonna go 3 drops that time. Oh yeah, I'm doing 3 drops. That was delicious. Very warm, very flavorful, great little chili flavor. I love all oysters, briny or not. I'll suck them down. You don't have to chew them, but you should. I was thinking the other day, can you swallow a whole pickle spear without chewing it because it's so slick? I'll probably never try. Until I'm really old. This portion of today's video is brought to you by Rocket Money. So I found out recently that Becky and I both had a subscription to a streaming service. We did not realize we both had it. We were just paying twice for no reason. You got all these subscriptions you can't manage? Rocket Money is here to help. Not only can they help you cancel your unwanted subscriptions, they can negotiate your bills for you. You just take a photo of your bill and they will take it from there. Once I tried to negotiate a bill on my own, didn't go great. That busy work at all sucks. Having anyone else do it is great. Rocket Money can also help you set budgets. Maybe you're trying to save up for something. Budgets are great. I feel like it's something they didn't do a great job teaching me in high school. Rocket Money has saved all of its users over $500 million in canceled subscriptions. That's a lot of cash. On average, they save $740 per user. If you're saving $740 a year, you could use that for the most incredible date night of your life. And there's probably even better ways to spend that money. Join the over 5 million users of Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/tryguys or click the link in the description. Thanks to Rocket Money for sponsoring today's video. Now back to me. So you guys have your own butcher shop that just is a butcher shop for everyone out there, but then you're also using all that stuff to make a charcuterie platter here. And I know people order charcuterie platters as well.
So this is the bresaola, which is the Wagyu. This is duck, a cured duck. We use Liberty ducks, but we smoke this as well. Now, I like charcuterie not tightly rolled or pressed, so I kind of just lay it out as ever it falls. This is a culatello. Culatello is the type of mussel that you use. It's an Italian style of prosciutto or charcuterie. Then we also make salamis. So this dark one here, we make a leek ash in the josper, which gives it a really sort of interesting flavor.
It's gorgeous.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
So pretty.
This is a calabrese. That's the backstrap. And finocchiono, so lots of fennel.
Fennel and pork are just really great friends.
Match made in heaven.
Yeah.
So we serve pickles. So this is some pickled onion, some pickled chilies, some pomegranates, little mustard seeds. I've got a little mustard. We make this in-house. It's made with beer.
The pork and fennel sauce. Yeah, the fennel is just like so strong. It's so good.
Yeah. This is the backstrap ham.
The backstrap ham.
Which was milky, but buttery in flavor.
Well, it almost has like a little crunch to it too. Wow. That fat's so good. Don't take this offensively. It's almost like a really thick fruit roll-up.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of got a leatheriness to it, right? Yeah. This butter's crazy as well. We bring it in from Normandy. It's called beurre de Barat. It sounds ridiculous that you'd go to the effort to like fly butter in from France, but I tell you what, it's like no other butter. Australia makes wonderful butters too, Nothing compares to this.
The bread. Yeah, I remember I came here for my birthday a few years ago and sat at the bar and we got the bread and immediately ordered like 2 more servings of bread.
Yeah.
It was just so kind of crazy, delicious.
That's the calabrese.
Calabrese.
So Calabrian chili.
Oh, it's gonna be spicy.
Yeah. Not crazy though.
Especially with the bread that tastes like pizza. Wow, that's really good.
Yeah, it's got a nice kick, doesn't it?
I mean, it's not spicy. It's spicier than I was expecting when you said, it doesn't have that much spice. No, it's chili. Okay, I gotta try this.
You saved the best to last.
This one.
Leek ash and porcini. It's got that sort of umami of the mushrooms and the caramelization from the leeks.
It looks like a stained glass window.
Cheers.
Whoa, I have to add it again. I don't even know what this is. I've never tasted anything like this. For one second, I'll be like, oh, it's all mushrooms. I'm like, oh no, it's the onion flavor. It's like, oh no, it's the pork. And it keeps sort of walking to a revolving door through all those flavors. And then the duck in this.
Yep.
Right? This is the duck that's smoked, so it's more like a speck.
So the only one we smoke is the duck.
I thought that one was smoked for sure. This one is definitely smoked.
Right.
It's great. It's so fatty. Duck. And duck's like the fatty little bird.
A little bit of that fat render out.
Yeah, I mean, it's like duck bacon.
Yeah.
It's great.
I gotta be honest, it's everyone's favorite. Everyone just loves that.
It's so good. It's just completely indulgent.
Yeah.
This is the same grass-fed Wagyu.
Wagyu Bresaola. So this is beef. It's the only cut of beef we do. Everything else is pork.
I mean, you can see right through it.
Yeah.
It's like that Simpsons gag where he rubs a burger on the wall to make sure it's fatty enough for him to gain weight, and the bird flies into it. It's fatty, but it's also just so thin. But it really is like paper thin.
Yeah. We have a 100-year-old slicer, the Lario. It's good, right?
Mm-hmm. That's really good. Okay, Una, what are we gonna have?
The cherry on top. It's a whiskey sour. It has 4 Roses bourbon, some fresh egg white, like so, some house-made cherry syrup, fresh lemon. To give it a good shake.
When you do that, does your Apple Watch think you're really like crushing it?
You know, I never checked. It probably does.
It probably thinks you're like really hustling every time you make a drink.
It's like, wow. And then a little Luxardo cherry, best cherries in the world, I swear, right here. I love to do this little gradient, malic acid, cherry powder.
The cherry on top. Yeah. Oh, that's so smooth. Wow, it's just delicious. Sometimes whiskey sours are very, very sour, or they're very, very alcoholic. This is like, it's sweet and tart rather than sour. It's really, like, it looks like suede, kind of drinks like suede. Now it's time for the pastas and rice, and joining me is everyone's favorite Jared Popkin!
Oh yeah, Papa's home, baby. Bitch is back. We get fancy tonight.
We're fancy.
We're not home. We got a sitter.
You know,
we're on a date.
A few years ago,
baby.
Jared and I had one of our first little dates together, and we came here.
That's true. That's actually very true. It's one of our first dinner times.
I know. Before we eat, we should probably get some wine on the table as well.
You know me too well, babe.
I know.
So we're going Pinot Noir. This is 100% Pinot Noir from Michel Gay et Fils, which means and sons.
Okay.
Michel Gay and Sons. This is Chory Le Bon. Chory Le Bon is an appellation in Burgundy in the southern part of the Côte d'Or. A little bit more concentrated and rich, but super sexy and soft and velvety on the texture, but like kind of a robust, earthy, kind of pomegranate and red fruit character, but with great acidity cuts through the fat of richer dishes. Enjoy your pastas.
Thank you. Was he describing you there for a second?
I think he might
Sort
have
of like velvety, sexy.
Sexy,
you know?
earthy, grounded.
I know.
Rich.
Felt like he was sort of describing Jared.
I think he was describing exactly me.
Oh,
and then he totally forgot to talk about the wine.
I know. But what's the wine like? It's so good, and the glass is so big.
I want to put this in a water fountain and then put it in my house. You know when you watch Game of Thrones, you're like, he's having wine at 9 a.m.? I'd have this wine at 9 a.m. This is f***ing good.
Yeah, I've seen you drink wine at 9 a.m. This is the cavatelli. This has beet, goat cheese, and pistachio. Look at these little beets. Look at them.
This is gorgeous.
It's beautiful. The cavatelli.
Here we go, cavatelli. Were you expecting it to be warm?
No.
That was amazing.
Wow.
It's mostly that great pistachio.
Yeah, the pasta is perfect.
This is amazing. That is perfectly cooked.
It's sweet, it's nutty, so it's got a little crunch. There's also these little cubed beets that provide that like sort of sweet beetness.
Sweetness.
Sweetness.
This is one of the best pistachio flavored things you could probably get on the planet. Mm-hmm. You know, at certain places like an Olive Garden, they always keep bringing out salad. I want this to be like that salad.
Bottomless.
Yeah, bottomless.
Bottomless.
I want
Wow.
bottomless beets. Bottomless beets. Band name called it.
One of my favorite pastas is gnocchi because it doesn't even feel like pasta to me.
True.
It's little potato dumpling pasta that's so flavorful, so chewy. I'm so excited for this one. It looks absolutely gorgeous.
A bacon bolognese?
Wow. Can you do that?
Are you allowed?
Is that legal? The gnocchi. It is like if you took breakfast and turned it into an Italian pasta dinner.
Yeah.
It's potatoes and bacon, but it's been totally reimagined.
Chicken pot pie.
It does have like a stew or pot pie.
It's just so American.
Vibe. Yes.
It's so American.
You know what it is? They say this sticks to your bones. Is that what they
Yeah.
say? Is that the phrase? It sticks to your bones.
This is so Keith Habersberger taste profile.
Manly
It's
pasta.
a daddy dish.
It's a daddy pasta.
Daddy dish.
Daddy's
I need the
having
editors.
gnocchi.
Daddy dish.
It does taste like daddy. Okay, let's move on. The risotto with Dungeness crab, celery root, brown butter.
Oh my God, this looks so fun. It looks like it's like artistic seaweed.
It's not seaweed at all, I don't
know,
think, but
like,
I get
the
the vibe.
texture and the wrap. It looks like I'm gonna get lost in this little sauce over here.
The risotto.
The risotto. Good God.
Crab. Mm-hmm. Wow, it's rich.
Yeah, it's
This is like
cottage cheese rich.
It's like gold car rich. How is it even that rich? How are you so rich you have a gold car? It's impractical.
And it's a gold limo. The flavor is sharp. Mm-hmm. The flavor will cut you like a knife.
I can't tell if it's like a celery, like a tiny little sprig, but has a little bit of crunch, a little bit of freshness. It does cut through the intensity of the
It's
risotto.
like a more neutral, like
Yeah.
like a hydration taste.
It's a hydration taste.
Yeah.
It's like when you buy a bag of pistachios that have been deshelled. You don't have to work for it anymore. It's like all the flavor and tons of delicious crab flavor and meat. No work.
I'm buzzing right now.
I feel good.
This food makes me feel like a rock star.
Yeah. This food interrupts your date. You can't talk about each other. You can only talk about how good it is. You'd be like, what were you doing today? It's like, wow, so good. What would you say? What was your favorite of the three?
I gotta give the credit to the beats. This was shocking.
It's crazy. This one, this is the operatic soloist.
Yes.
Big, showy.
Yes.
You know, they don't steal the show because they already were the show. You bought the ticket for this.
Yeah, absolutely.
This over here, this guy, the entire bass section,
I think it's a whole band.
providing the foundation.
Yeah.
This, the triangle,
Wow, really?
you would forget about it.
But it's keeping tempo.
The perfect place, no,
Yeah,
absolutely would
wow.
not keep tempo.
It doesn't?
No, but that one little triangle ding was the thing you realized the whole ensemble needed. I think I do like the daddy dish the most,
God, that daddy dish.
which we should actually call by its name, is the gnocchi. It was really good, but they're all
Gnocchi was
delicious.
phenomenal.
What's going on with you? What's new?
My show is out. You guys
Yeah.
can check out Read the Room. Marissa's on it. She's in one of the episodes.
Episode 4.
Episode 4? No, but Read the Room is out. I worked really hard on it for almost a year. I was the director, writer, producer. I'm in it sometimes. I'm stoked on it. I hope you guys check it out and love it. And if you don't love it, make a comment. I hope you watch it.
Well, thanks, Jared. We'll see you
guys.
next time.
Love
Always
having
good to have you.
Love having
Always
it.
good to have you. Love having you. Let's move on to what's next.
So this is a salad, our sort of take on a salad. It's apples and persimmons. We take Granny Smiths and we roast them in the Josper. And then we turn it into this sort of silky
That's
puree.
apples?
That's apple, yeah.
I thought that was mustard. I was like, okay, it's like an apple mustard salad. Sounds good.
So this is just the Granny Smith roasted in the Josper, so it's got a real sort of smokiness. And then we turn it into a puree. So it's kind of like the most delicious baby food you could ever see. And then we take persimmon. It's a fruit. It grows natively here in California. It has a really lovely sweetness to it.
Persimmon. It's darkly sweet a phrase. You know, it's like very like a muted sweetness. It doesn't have any brightness is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't have like a sour acidity to it that some like a strawberry would have that's also sweet.
This is a Honeycrisp apple. It's a sweeter. A little cheek of that.
A very, very like simple thing. You're just chunking up fruit, putting it on some pureed fruit.
This is a coffee rub.
I was really not expecting coffee.
I know. You know what? Chef Luis, who works here, our executive chef, he was like, I don't know, I love eating fruit and coffee in the morning, and I was thinking about that for a dish, and I was like, that's an odd combination. But then we just started playing with it, and it actually works really, really nice. This is a lemon verbena.
I thought it was mint.
It looks like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a vinegar that we make with persimmons, and then pecans we just grate straight over the top. We don't roast them.
I've never seen anyone grate any nut. The persimmons and apples. Wow, that's so much flavor. Wow, what's crunchy in there? The coffee?
The coffee, yeah. So that's the coffee beans. We bring in coffee beans from Melbourne because I'm a total coffee guy.
Well, you're from Australia. That's how everyone is there.
It's true. We're so weird.
Oh, I went. You can taste the coffee, but then you're sort of hit with the vinegar,
right?
Like right out, and then you're left with the dark sweetness, as I called it, of the persimmons. But the nuttiness is like really light. The waxy pecans. I mean, that green apple puree gives you so much like acidity and tartness that really wakes you up. And then you're also hit with that bitter coffee at the same time.
Yeah.
Which both of those things, you're used to those flavors sort of waking you up. So really, if you are arriving to dinner not ready to eat, this is gonna smack you in the face. It's almost as tart as like wine.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most flavor-packed dishes I've had, just in terms of like hitting you on both sides of the spectrum of flavor. Great textures, so nice.
I would love to make you our house gimlet. Gin or vodka based, it's up to you. With your base, perfect. And we do a house-made cucumber dill syrup, which I basically just juice whole cucumbers with the skin on, dill as well, blend it together with some sugar, and then I add a little citric acid into that, which really kind of amps up the vibrancy of the cucumber and dill. There's a really cool rim where we dehydrate dill, grind it up in a mortar and pestle with some black peppercorn, some pink peppercorn and coriander, and sea salts. And here's the gimlet syrup here. So it becomes
it's a
sort
dense
of
juice,
very,
for sure.
A dank green.
Yeah, a dank green.
Cheers, this is our house gimlet.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That is crazy. I love the little pink peppercorn because the pink really pops out against the rest of it being green. It makes it feel like Christmassy or like a holiday drink, although it also still is very summery. It feels like sitting on your lawn. You're even looking at your lawn, right?
There you go.
Like grass clippings, you're just chilling, having some cucumber, having a gimlet. Have a gimlet.
It's like almost being at the spa.
It's exactly like if spas served alcohol.
Take the ribbon out and just lay it across your eyes.
It does make everyone here who's out for a nice dinner together have to lick the outside of a glass way further on the outside than you normally would, which I think is great. Now it's time for the pork, seafood, and some sides, and joining me is Marissa! Yay! How you doing?
Hello, Internet. I'm doing great. I'm so excited. I've never been here before, and I've heard so many great things.
But before we get into the food, we have to have some wine.
Continuing with versatility as being an important part, particularly when you have all these dishes in front of you.
Gotta be verse.
There is an element of spice here in front of you as the pecans and cashews that are on top of the pork chop there are braised but then tossed with a buzz button sauce, which is kind of like Szechuan peppercorns and a numbing and spicy character to it.
Ooh.
So it's not super orange, but this is a skin contact orange wine. This is Onward. It comes from the Suisun Valley, north and east of San Francisco, south of Napa Valley. It is a skin contact Malvasia, fermented on the skins for about a week. So it's got a little bit of color, a little bit of tannin, and it is a tiny bit off dry. So it has a round plushness to it. I think it smells like peach rings.
It does have a peach ring sort of vibe.
Yeah.
Well, cheers.
Santé.
Cheers, thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers. That's nice.
Yeah, it's good. I love skin contact wine.
I do too. And that's a good, at least for me, I've noticed in the past like 3-ish years, it's gotten a lot more popular. And every time I see one, I'm like, all right, let's try it because it's always good. I've never not liked one.
Okay, we have a lot of stuff to get into here.
Yes.
Let's start with scallops. You sear them. You put them on stuff. These are on some grits. They also have some pork floss around them. Grits, I really only come around to enjoy in the last several years. And I think someone should have just said, hey, what if corn was mashed potatoes? And I would have been like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
The scallop. There's simply no other word but damn. Such a good flavor, and that pork floss adds just a little bit of like porkiness to it, which I always think that scallops almost have. Of the seafoods, they're the closest to like a fried pork flavor.
The grits are the smoothest grits I've ever had. They just melt in your mouth. Oh yeah, the wine.
This is is very close to a I'll have what she's having sort of vibe. I only want to speak in onomatopoeia. Wham, bang, zow. Okay, so this is the cream cabbage. It's the same cabbage we had in the kitchen. They take that charred layer out and then they braise it in cream and butter and spices, top it with some fried onions.
Ooh.
The cabbage.
Cabbage. Mmm. So smoky, but still light.
It's like if a Southern barbecue was somehow, you grab that flavor to put in their coleslaw. Because it's a crunchy coleslaw with a very...
And the oniony flavors in there too.
Yeah, roast onion, smoked, and all that smoke comes from the fact that they literally take the cabbage, they put it into the fire. They just let it burn. It is so...
But of course it doesn't taste burnt.
No, just because they take all that outside layer off.
Never would I think to be like, oh, when you go to Gwen, you have to try the cabbage. But you have to try the cabbage.
The cabbage slaps. Peter Cottontail was always going through the garden trying to steal carrots and cabbage, right?
Yep.
Peter Cottontail would go nuts for this. He would let that farmer kill him twice just to have a taste of this. Let's have some potatoes. These are duck fat fried potatoes with a tarragon vinegar. I'm just gonna do a little drop right on it. The potatoes.
The potato.
Potatoes.
Nice and pillowy on the inside.
Yeah.
Crispy on the outside. It doesn't taste like duck, it just tastes more complex than a French fry.
The vinegar like brightens it up.
Yeah, that's delicious.
No great potatoes. Let's go into this pork boy. The pork chop, and it's got a buzz button, sort of a roasted cashew and Romano beans and pears. Look at this slice of pork.
And it's slightly pink in the middle, which is good.
Which is good, you can do that.
You can do that, it's fine. It's actually preferable.
It's 2024. It's not the late 90s when we're all afraid of undercooked meat.
It doesn't, your pork chop does not have to be gray.
The pork chop with the buzz button cashews. Whoa, sweet, homey, comforting. It's like something your grandma made for you, and also something your grandma is incapable of making.
It is grandma, it is beyond grandma.
I don't think I've had a cashew this texture before. It's soft, almost like a boiled peanut.
I was just about to say that, but way better.
Way better. Way better than boiled peanuts.
Way
Never
better.
was a fan. Really delicious. That's a special little pork chop.
Yeah.
If I hadn't already wasted my one damn of the episode, this one might get it. Okay, this is the butternut squash. This is cooked in the Jasper, which is the wood-fired stove.
It smells like Thanksgiving.
Yeah, kind of a mess of delicious browns. The butternut squash. Oh, that's dessert. Ooh. There's like a little zing in there, a little spice, like a little chili something. It almost has a Thai profile with that coconut and the little bit of spice on the back end. The flavor is just that.
It does hit you in the back of the tongue.
There's a secret heat in there. It's so nice. It's more of like my mouth is warm. Not spicy, but warm. It's time to go fishing. This is the coral trout? The fish. I'm so impressed with how much flavor they managed to get into everything.
Yeah. Whoa! I just tried the Brussels. Whoa!
What's going on with them?
Whoa! Mmm.
Whoa! Yeah, whoa.
Whoa!
Oh. Whoa. The texture of these Brussels sprouts is like fried rice paper. Unbelievably light, while still being so packed with flavor. It's very easygoing. It's very relaxed, sort of a relaxed fish
It's like it
dish.
just keeps swimming. Just
Yeah,
keeps swimming.
well, but then the fish died. Because we're eating it, right? Spätzle! Trumpet mushrooms, black trumpet mushrooms, and smoked Gouda. Spätzle. These are rich. This is umami and udaddy. All of it. And
ooh baby.
ooh son, ooh daughter. The whole family is there. It's the Gouda. The Gouda is such a strong flavor with the earthy mushrooms.
Yep.
Like it's delicious, but it's like, wow, that's so much.
And more of that smokiness coming through. Smokiness is definitely an overall flavor profile.
We cook over fire. That's what we do. That's what we do.
That's what we do. I think my favorite was the scallops.
Yeah, I like the scallops too. So what's new with you? You've been busy.
Yeah, I've been busy. Commercials, strike's over. I'm fortunate enough to be working still and eating delicious food with delicious friends. So thank you.
I guess I am sort of a delicious friend. I guess so. I guess you're right.
Delicious of friends.
Thanks. Well, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. This was so excellent. I can't wait to be back.
And now it's time to go to the kitchen.
So our octopus is made al pastor in the same flavor that you would get a normal al pastor taco. So what we do is we marinate the octopus and we slowly cook it in sous vide. So we cook it in a water bath, it's really slow. We let it cool and then we brush it again with the al pastor flavors and we roast it in the Jospa, which is a charcoal burning oven. When we take it out of the charcoal burning oven, we serve it with a little bit more of that al pastor. We brush it again, we slice it, and then we serve it with some fermented pineapple, a little chili oil, and it's a very simple dish, but it's really quite delicious. We also garnish it with cilantro flowers. The flowers are actually a lot more pungent in flavor than the leaves, the cilantro leaves. So we use the flowers because they're pretty, but they also pack a real punch.
Oh, wow.
So it's like octopus al pastor.
Yeah.
And that's why we ferment the pineapple. And serve the pineapple as well.
Delicious. Cheers. That's al pastor. Octopus, wow, that's awesome.
I have the same attitude with ribs as I do with octopus. It's got to be tender enough.
It still has a chew though.
It's got to have a little chew.
Yeah.
We're going to do the dirty duck martini. We work with the butcher shop and they give us this beautiful smoked duck speck. So we peel the fat from the muscle and we take the fat and we render it in the back. So we cook it for a little bit, gather all of that melted fat goodness, and then we pour it into Tito's and freeze it overnight. The whole fat washing process for that 24 hours. It freezes, so all the fat will rise through to the top, and then we strain it through cheesecloth until it's totally like smooth and particle-free of all the fat. And then we put it back into our Tito's bottle, mark it with a little tape so we know that it's the smoked duck and not regular Tito's. 3 ounces of that, a touch of olive juice, just a little kiss. And then we shake it nice and cold. So the fat washing ultimately just gives it this beautiful texture, which you're about to witness. And then we stuff Castelvetrano olives with the smoked duck breast, so everything gets used.
The dirty duck martini. Cheers.
Cheers.
The smoke and the fattiness, it like cuts that intensity that a vodka would have, and it tastes so pleasant. There's no bite. It's just really pleasant. What if I didn't drink alcohol? Is there
Yes.
anything for me then?
I would love to make you the lemongrass float.
Lemongrass float?
It has coconut, lemongrass syrup that I make here, and a little fresh lime juice and soda water. So I'll whip it a little, pebble ice, get it chilled, and put that in the bottom. And then pour the creamy mixture in, and it starts to kind of foam up.
It looks almost like marshmallow.
It does. And so it's a lemongrass float, right? So why not have like a little fresh lime zest for the aromatics alongside lemongrass? Like
What a statement. Right across the middle.
Lemongrass.
Typically, if you're not drinking alcohol, you might feel left out. This actually is the most, fancy drink visually I feel like we've had. The lemongrass float. Wow, that's just delicious. Gosh, it tastes like something I'd get from an ice cream truck. It tastes like bright and happy and like a lemon lime sherbet.
Yes.
That's obviously more complicated than a sherbet, but it has like that vibe. Wow. Well, thank you so much, Una. This is delicious.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
I gotta get back to eating.
Yes.
Thank you. And now it's time for the steaks. And joining me to eat the steaks is the person who crafts all the steaks, Chef Curtis Stone. Welcome to the Eat the Menu table stage.
How are you, bud?
I'm great, how you doing?
Very well. So this is the flat iron steak first.
That's
You
it.
can also call this the oyster blade steak. Two sort of cushions of meat, and in between is some sinew and some fat. So in Australia, we sell that as a whole piece, called the oyster blade. Here, we separate those two, remove all of that sinew and fat. So it's very lean, very rich in flavor, and quite tender.
Wow, and then what's this little guy right here?
This is just a little red wine jus that we serve with the steaks.
Very nice.
So what we do is we allow our guests to choose their weapons. We've got all of these different knives, and you can go ahead and choose whichever one you like.
So many different styles.
Different styles. Let me tell you a little bit about them. So these 1, 2, 3, 4 here are all bloodroot. So they're made by a couple of brothers in Georgia. They use all recycled material. So they literally wander around and find recycled material, whether it be for the steel that makes the blade or the wood. They do all sorts of different handles. So they're really beautiful, one of my favorite. It's really about what kind of handle you like. Do you want a wooden knife? We have antlers. We've got all sorts of different things. You can choose whatever you like.
This one's calling to me for some reason.
Oh yeah, nice
This
choice.
This one, I don't know why. Maybe it's this big white stripe, but something about it made me want it.
Oh, that's a locally crafted knife actually. That one's made in Burbank.
I work in Burbank.
It's called the Bomp knife, and it's actually made with a resin, similar resin that they would use on an aircraft. There's burlap covered in that as well. Beautifully sharp knife, and you're supporting your local artisans.
So this is something you do for every guest who's having steak. You bring around the knives, everyone gets to choose which one they want. They hear a little cute story about them.
Yep.
That's very fun. I did see a crazy knife down there in the kitchen. I didn't talk about it. It was like a little switchblade pocket knife that was just sort of sitting on the end. That's the one.
That's the one.
What's going on with this?
I've always got a fun little knife in my pocket.
That's a fun little knife.
Just to open boxes and all the boring stuff.
Of course.
Protect myself. We are in Hollywood.
Right, we are in Hollywood.
Just joking.
So let's have one of these.
Sure.
This looks delicious. Just Gwen in general.
Yeah.
What led to this restaurant in particular?
This is named after my nan, my granny. Gwen, obviously her name. She lived in the countryside in Australia, and she grew up very simply. She had animals. My mum would tell stories about there being a lamb hanging from the oak tree, and then her dad, my grandfather, just going out and getting some chops out of it and coming in and being like lamb chops for dinner.
How long can a lamb live on a tree?
You'll be surprised if it's cool enough. And in the old days they'd throw a wet Hessian sack over it, and that would keep any bugs away.
Wow.
And you'd keep it there for a couple of weeks.
I did not expect to learn this.
Yeah.
I gotta do this little sauce though.
Please. This is one of my favorite steaks because it's, there's a different steak for every palate.
Yeah.
Right? Some are super tender. Of course, the tenderness usually means less flavor. And the toughness usually means more flavor development.
Yeah.
And this one's right in the middle for me.
Yeah, it's a little tougher than the ones we've had before.
Yeah.
But still quite easy to eat and very meaty in flavor.
It is, yeah, very rich.
Oh, that's great. I love the chew on this too. It's very bouncy.
It is, yeah.
It's like your teeth on a little trampoline.
And you also pick up that little bit of smoke that we cook it on, which I think is nice. You know what we need? A glass of red wine.
We do.
Now I'm pouring you gentlemen 2021 Four Stones. The appellation on this wine is actually Malibu, and I'll let Chef Curtis tell you a little bit more about it, as this is a little bit close to home for him as well.
It is. Well, the Four Stones, me, my wife, and my 2 kids. And this is a little vineyard that we got our hands on just recently. but the vines are 25 years old. This is a Bordeaux blend.
This is the Bordeaux blend. We make 3 wines from the vineyard site. A half Cabernet, half Syrah. A little homage to Chef Curtis's homeland of Australia where they do a lot of blends like that. We make a straight Cabernet from 100% estate fruit, and then we make this beautiful Bordeaux blend involving all 5 grape varieties that come from Bordeaux. Wow. So Cabernet based, but with a little bit of Merlot, Cabernet Franc, Malbec, and Petit Verdot as well.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, mate. Well,
cheers.
It's young. Cheers. But it's
But so are we, Curtis.
But so are we. Not as young as I'd like.
Yeah. That's great. So you make bottles of liquid with your name on it.
We do.
Gosh, I know what that's like. And it's vinegar, which is not so different from wine. I make not too hot sauces, but I don't think they have quite the esteem and beauty of the bottles that you guys have.
I'm a hot sauce man.
These are not too hot sauces. This one, both of these are pretty good on steak. We already got a great pairing here, but this one's sort of like a smoky mustard. I think it's really, really good on steak. It's probably my go-to, but this one that has a lot of warming spices is also very good.
Let's try them. When did you start making them?
I started making them in 2019, I think.
Awesome.
Yeah, I work with a bakery in Vermont. Everything is locally sourced from farms out there. Basically, the woman Claire, she used to just trade baked goods with some of the farmers there to make peppers. She started making her own hot sauces. Got very good at it. When I was trying to make a hot sauce, I partnered with her, and she's really good with creating different flavors, and we made 3 different ones over time.
Oh, that's very good. They're both delicious.
Yeah, this one has like cinnamon and cardamom, a lot of warming spices, really nice.
Congrats, buddy.
I love them too.
Fabulous.
Fabulous.
Where can you buy them?
Well, you can buy them, there's a link in the description.
The Wagyu steak, we literally season with salt and pepper on both sides, and we put it onto a red hot fire burning grill. We burn almond wood, and then we rake those coals underneath the grill, and then we cook that steak for just a couple of minutes on either side, and then let it rest really well. It's grass-fed Wagyu, so it has a real minerality to it, but of course it is full-blood Wagyu, so it's still very, very rich, fatty, and delicious. To accompany the steak, we serve some spring onions that we've slowly cooked and then finished in the josper, which is that charcoal burning oven, and cabbage that we cook in the embers, and then we remove it, portion it, and then we flash it back in the grill as well, so you get sort of caramelization on all sides. So this is Blackmore's Wagyu. It comes out of Victoria, Australia, my state where I grew up. The interesting thing about what David does is he runs the animals on grass for a long time, so they get this real minerality. It's my favorite Wagyu in the world.
Some people cut this off. I love that bite of fat. I think that's
I'm with you.
the best part.
Steak cheers.
Cheers. I mean, the texture is incredible.
Sick, right?
It almost tastes like bacon because of the rendered fat and the salt presence, but like, wow, that's out of control. It is so perfectly tender without being too soft. Yeah, and it's not as melt away as, you know, the super Wagyu, the A5 Japanese Wagyu that's like almost at times too
fatty, yeah.
Fatty. It's exactly what you want steak to taste like every time. It's exactly what you want.
We try and play with...
The spring onions are crazy good. Holy cow.
And the cabbage too, a lot of people look at the cabbage and don't even touch it, but the truth is the cabbage is fabulous. We cook the whole thing as a whole cabbage straight in the charcoal, and it gets totally burnt on the outside, and then we kind of remove those outer leaves, and what you're left with inside is this beautiful, smoky, perfectly cooked cabbage, which I think is really fabulous.
Yeah, you can see this little translucent sort of inner layer right here. All right, the cabbage. That's a great texture for cabbage.
Yeah.
It's almost like a softened carrot. It has a decent amount of like chew still and crunch.
Yeah.
Which is, normally if cabbage is crunchy, it means it's not cooked enough at all.
Exactly.
This is like just tremendous.
The dry aged ribeye, we age for 80 days. This is from Creekstone, and it's a beautiful, rich ribeye. We cook that over the fire. We season it with salt and pepper first. and we leave it on the grill for just a couple of minutes on either side, and then we let it rest for 5 to 10 minutes. Then we give it another 2 minutes on either side, and we continue that process. So it's cook, rest, and that way we end up getting a beautiful pink, even cook all the way through that steak. Because of its 80-day dry aging, it gets a real funkiness, a real richness in flavor. The tool I use when I'm cooking on the grill is the blow poke, and it allows me to rake the coals from the fire basket or the bracero as they fall through. And then I pull those coals over. If I want to get a little bit more heat, I've got the opportunity to blow right through that rod and sort of just add a little bit of oxygen to that fire, which will just flare up those coals a little bit to give me a bit of extra heat.
So this is the big boy.
It is. Creekstone is the ranch. It is 80-day dry aged, which is a long time. I mean, normally it's 7 to 14 days. You know, I always sort of describe it like you start with this much flavor, and then you dehydrate it, right? You end up with this much meat, but you've still got this much flavor, but now in this much meat, so it just makes it richer.
Wow. All right, let's get into it.
Bon appetit.
Cheers. I can taste that different flavor, I guess the funk. It almost tastes nutty.
Yeah. Yeah, you can sort of almost describe it as an aged cheese too, right?
Yeah.
Like a blue cheese
It
kind
has a
of.
similar funk. It's not like that extreme.
Right.
I also love the little rib cap parts of
that's
this.
the best bit.
I mean, it's so delicious. So much extra fat.
Yeah, that's the mouthful. But this, that intercostal, this sort of piece here, it's rich, it's delicious. It's actually what they, when you have Korean barbecue.
Oh, when they cut it off the short rib, when they like literally cut it at your table.
That's
like
what it is.
Scrape it forever.
Yeah, so you see the fat that runs through
Yeah,
it.
wow.
And the flavor of that is, I think, you know, whoever picks up the bone in my book is.
Always picking up the bone.
Yeah.
I feel like you shouldn't. I've done it here, and you know,
it's
Becky has
encouraged.
been like, you can't start eating off the bone. And I'm like, but
Oh, no.
it's a big old bone.
Yeah, we love
You're
it.
eating a big old piece of red meat off a bone. I think in that instance, you're allowed to eat off the bone.
You sure are.
Well, I'm gonna eat it. Wow, it is really like a big hunk of fat running right through the center of that.
And because it's so close to the bone, it gets all the sweetness during
Mm-hmm.
that cooking process. So you sort of get this lovely, rich, beefy flavor from
And
it.
a little bit extra crunch from it being right here on the seam and like hitting that fire. Wow. Wow.
The hanger steak, you know, a real chew to it, but wow, is it full of flavor. And, you know, you only get one hanger steak per side of beef. So you won't often see these, and quite often the butchers keep them for themselves.
It hangs off of some part, right? Is that where the name comes
It
from?
kind of hangs just on the inside of that rib cage. So it's sort of, it is just a little piece of meat, and that's why it's an interesting cut, because it just sort of hangs in there. You got to be a little careful when you take it out. But yeah, it is full of flavor. I really like the steak.
Let's get into it. The hanger steak. Oh yeah, that's really tender actually.
It's not bad, is it? And you can kind of see it's got a looser fiber to it.
Yeah.
That muscle is a much looser fiber. So, you know, you can kind of almost just pull it apart.
Really can.
But it still does have a little chew to it, which I kind of like.
Okay, so what's this guy?
This is the New York strip.
Ah,
In Australia, we call it the sirloin because there was a king at some point that liked it so much he literally knighted it. It's called the strip loin in commercial butcheries. Lots of different names for it. In Australia, we also call it the porterhouse. Here that means something different. So
Yeah, we have a totally different name
it does
for that.
get quite confusing, but the New York strip is one of the world's favorite cuts.
Yeah.
It's pretty lean with that little bit of fat that runs along the sides.
it's got a lot of flavor.
Yeah.
But I love a strip. The New York strip.
You can see why it's a favorite of people,
Yeah.
right? It's nice and tender, absolutely delicious.
And with that red wine glaze, it's got it all.
Yeah.
A little bit acidic, a little sweet, very easy to chew, lots of flavor. The little fat cap on the side is nice for those who want that bite of rendered fat, who want that extra like kind of crunchy, soft, almost melts away fat.
Dude, I love my job. I get out of bed and I genuinely love coming to the kitchen. But I think you've got me beat.
Yeah, I get to
You're at work right now.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how we made this work.
Cheers to
I don't
that.
know how we did it. I mean, I had to slog through a lot of fast food to get here. What is your favorite cut of all the steaks?
I think if I had to choose one of these 3 steaks, it would be the flat iron. I think because of where it sits, it has a real richness. My default is the ribeye. I absolutely love the spinalis and the center and that little
You
bit
get a lot of
extra fat.
different steak experiences in one ribeye, especially with the bone in, because you have the stuff close to the bone, the cap, and then that little like sort of rendered fat tail that some people will cut off.
Yeah.
Like, don't cut that off.
Yeah.
I get it. It's like 3 inches of pure fat, but it's so good. I think out of these 3, this is my favorite, only because I do love the rendered fat on a steak.
Right.
Just very few opportunities where you can eat fat and the fat is delicious and you can chew it, you can totally enjoy it. Most meats, the fat just doesn't do that.
Right. When we decided to open Gwen, to be honest, I was sort of searching LA for a great butcher shop, and I always thought to myself, only there was a wonderful butcher shop here. So that was kind of the beginning of the conversation. And then I thought if you had a beautiful restaurant off the butcher shop, and the butcher shop was sort of the central focus of it all, that could be pretty cool, because the butcher-chef combination is pretty wonderful.
So after this, I'm gonna have some of the pies. I know meat pies, hand pies are very big in Australia. What was the inciting incident that put that on the menu?
You know, in the pandemic, we just didn't know what to do. We couldn't open our restaurants. We wanted to keep our staff employed. So we turned Maud into a pie shop. We called it the Pie Room, and we just baked because we sort of felt like the world needs a hug or a pie. You know, they're kind of one in the same thing. So we started baking pies, and then of course when the pandemic was over and we were allowed to reopen Maud, we did, and then our customers would all swing by and be like, where are the pies? We want the pies back. So it sort of motivated us to say, all right, well, let's do it. And we found a little bakery, and so now we're making the pies and we sell them here in the butcher shop at Gwen, and soon to be in Topanga, in a little shop over there. So so we're doing delicious sort of Aussie, British style meat pies. There's beef, there's chicken, there's rabbit. We do all sorts of delicious fillings. And then we also do sweet stuff as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I haven't had any of those from you guys. I've had some of the other smatterings, but that's exciting.
Okay, I'm gonna go down there and get busy.
Great. Thanks so much for
Nice
joining
eating
me.
steak with you. Thanks for having me.
Now it's time for some pies. But I think if we're gonna have some pies, we need a little beer as well.
This is a little Bittein Bit, probably most popular German beer of all. This is the Bitburger Pilsner.
Wow, look at it go. And that's what beer is. Beer is messy. It's at the football games, it's at the rugby games, it's the Australian football games.
So for those who don't know, Pilsner is a hoppy lager and 100% the best thing to have with a pie.
I love a Pilsner.
Enjoy.
Because they're very crushable. It is true, but I really like them because they're just a very clean beer flavor when you're having something fatty. It's just delicious, it's not complicated, it's easy. At this point in my life, I don't want a complicated beer. I want a beer that I can drink and think about something else. Let's start with this guy, this pie. This is the beef cheek pie. That shredded, wow, beef cheek, first of all, is so unbelievably delicious. It's very tender, it's very fatty, it's incredible. The beef cheek pie. It is like pot roast, it's like short rib. Definitely of all the things I've had, this feels the most at-home winter, make you feel better after a bad day pie. So fatty, so indulgent, so rich. It is so densely packed with this incredibly tender beef. Cheers to the pie. Yeah, that's good. Look at this little guy, huh? Clean cut. This is a pie to bring home to mom. Look at the haircut on this thing. You know, he did get some bleached tips, you know, no sideburns, very clean around the way. He's a military pie. The chicken and leek pie, I just love the sesame crust on top. It is absolutely gorgeous. These pies are unbelievably stacked. Look at that. This is a meal that, like, it's so beautiful, and then as soon as you start eating it, you've ruined it. You just ruined it. I've ruined it. The chicken and leek pie. If I'm being honest, this has the exact same vibe of the previous pie. Really comforting, heavy, luxurious, comforting, but now we're just dealing with chicken and leeks. Just all these layers of puff pastry, so delicate. The top ones are crispy. The ones that are closer to the meat they're a little bit damp with just the flavor of the chicken. Just the steam has really turned this into such a beautiful little bird. The vegetable pie. Oh. Just love, oh yeah, this popped right open. Look at that. This food is begging you to eat it. This is delicious. It has a great sweet curry flavor, a little bit of heat. The vegetarians are not missing out here. But this has that same comforting, warm vibe. I think that's just the vibe of the pies in general, but it's cozy. I picture a little cottage with a little chimney, with little rings of smoke coming out of it, and a little old lady who's just come home from the market. She turns and she sees you and she says, "Oh, would you like to come in?" And then you're like, "Sure." She's like, "I've just made some curry vegetable pies." And then you go in, and you eat one. And then she gets you. No, that doesn't happen. Or does it? All right, this is a lamb curry pie with potatoes atop it. Can you hear it? Oh. Yeah, nice. All right, let's get into this thing. The lamb pie. It's great to be able to have the lamb next to like the beef cheek and the chicken so I can really taste the uniqueness of lamb. It does have a totally different flavor. It's like a more matured flavor. It's a little, I wouldn't say gamey, but it has like a wildness about it. This is the kind of thing, you know, the old Campbell's soup commercials? Football players needed something hearty. Football players need this. This is what they needed, not Campbell's soup. What are you? Look at these two little fairy shoes. Sausage rolls. They look like little elf shoes. You imagine an elf sneaking through your house and you cut open his feet and they're sausage. I love sausage rolls. I've rarely been able to encounter them. The few places I've had them were Australia, and New Orleans does sausage rolls and they do them quite well. It's puff pastry around sausage. Come on, and they make their own sausage here. Come on, the sausage roll. Whoa! Holy cow, I feel like I just got hit with a tidal wave. The texture on the pie crust on this, because I think it's been able to roll over itself more, really crunchy. Really the most you get out of all the pies. And then you have this really spiced sausage underneath. Now it's time for some cookies and the sweet pie. As American as apple pie, this is a beautiful little apple pie. The caramelization on top, this little lattice, it's sort of like almost caramelized on top. The apple pie. It's f***ing delicious. The caramel, the sweetness, the brightness, great texture. It's very yummy. That pie's crazy. Cookies! Chocolate chunk. The chocolate chunk cookie. That's a big little piece of chocolate right in the middle of the cookie, huh? Yeah, this is perfect too. It's soft, but it has a good bite. I imagine as a child you would like save this bite for the end. You've nibbled it all the way around and then finally. It's a gluten-free chocolate and peanut butter chip cookie. Who needs gluten when I got these? I would never know this was a different cookie. There's like sugar kind of frosted on each individual peanut butter chip. And if I was like really high, I could imagine a little skier going down these little slopes and a little fairy flying above them. It's really beautiful when you look at it like this. Okay, I saved this one for last on purpose. It's got coconut, golden raisins. It's got some pecans I see in here. It smells almost like kettle corn, to be honest. It has that kind of salty, sweet smell to it. Yeah, it smells like a movie theater. The Anzac. These are inspired by Australian and New Zealand armies. It's kind of what they would eat with what they had to make cookies. They also didn't spoil when they traveled overseas. And honestly, it's really good. It is a thicker chew to a cookie. And honestly, it kind of tastes like a movie theater. It tastes like candy and salty popcorn and butter and like, you know, you have mounds at the movie theaters, like the coconut candies. It's like all of those things all at once. The texture is a little chewier and denser than these cookies. And the golden raisins, of course. You know I love raisins. A little burst of sweetness. And with that, we've eaten everything here at Gwen. So it is time for the best and the least best. It's hard to say. It was really all quite good. I guess if I had to choose something to be the least best, maybe the duck fat fried potatoes, only because they were simple. I liked that they were simple. I thought they were delicious, but so many things I had today were kind of like out of control, unique, like the cabbage, like the Brussels sprouts, but the best, lots of bests. I'm gonna say that octopus, I loved it. What it felt like to me was a very elevated dish of something very, very classic and abundant in Los Angeles, but a new way to experience something I already love. I loved that. It was so amazing. And the little cilantro flower buds blew my mind with how much flavor they had. Oh, I loved the scallops. It's absolutely perfect. Oh, I love the meat pies. I might have liked the vegetarian one the most. And the apple pie, we just had it, so you know, it's coming to my memory because it was recent. Recency bias, but it was incredible. Pork chop was amazing. Oh, the daddy gnocchi, just tremendous. I'm so happy that I actually did this because I have been to Gwen before, and the 2 times I've come after, I've gotten a lot of the same things because I love them so much. Today I got to try stuff I probably never would choose, and it might have been some of the favorite stuff that I had. I love that apple salad with the persimmons. Totally blew my mind. It was delicious, I had a great time, and I can't wait to have this 2- and 3-star Michelin restaurants, but honestly, this did give this one another star. Maybe I should start giving Keith stars out. 6 stars. Gwen has 6 Habersburger stars. The most you can have is 4. They've got 6. Thanks so much to Jared. Thanks so much to Marissa. Thanks so much to Chef Curtis Stone. And thanks so much to Gwen for having us. It was a beautiful day. We had so much. Oh, thanks so much to our sommelier. Thanks so much to our crew, all the team that helped make this happen. And of course, thanks to me. This has been Eat the Menu. Make sure you get yourself some not too hot sauces. And if you're in LA, get yourself a table at Gwen. They do have bar seating, so if you don't have time to get a reservation, pop in, see what you can do. If nothing else, drop by the butcher shop and get yourself a world-class piece of meat to cook in your residence inn, because those have kitchens, because I assume you're traveling. This has been Eat the Menu. We'll see you next time. Bye. But that is everything here at Gwen. No,
No, you still have to have the cookies with the sweet pie.
of course.